So before we start the show with Mr. Patrick Durkin, I wanted to tell you guys about the Extreme Health Academy. This is an awesome, awesome place. We're really excited about it, and we really believe it is going to take your health to new levels. We've got amazing content in there to help motivate you, to inspire you, to give you the tools, to give you the information, to give you the step-by-step protocols and biohacks and everything you need to overcome your health conditions and to achieve another level of health that you never thought possible. This is an amazing place. It's been something that I've been working on for years, and we partnered up with our good friend of the show, Dr. John Bergman. And so every single month, you guys get to vote on which courses we create next. So every month, we create courses for you guys, all based on what you guys vote for and ask for. And so the courses have been about different disease processes and health challenges people might be having, or organ systems of the body, like how to take care of your digestion or your heart, things like that. And every single month, we also do the Extreme Health Challenge, and only Academy members can win the prizes. And we've been giving away everything from the Relax Far Infrared Sauna to the Air Doctor Pro Air Purifier to the Bellicon Rebounder. We're giving away some amazing prizes, but you have to be a member of the Academy to get those prizes. And we're also doing an upcoming spring cleanse. So we're going to be going through the Ejuva cleanse as a group. That way you can get support from other Academy members, and you can get support along the way as you're doing the cleanse. There's an amazing forum, some incredible people in the community. We're doing all kinds of other videos and audio content. This is an amazing place for you guys to check out. So it's only for serious people only. So if you want to take your health to new levels, meet some really amazing people that will help support you and come together as a group, or if you're looking to overcome a particular health challenge, then this is the place for you. This is the place for you if you want to live like I do to 150 or beyond. So check out the extremehealthacademy.com. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of Extreme Health Radio. So much fun to come to you guys and talk about. Gosh, we get to talk to some of the most fascinating people and the most it's just so interesting. So many different levels of people, right? We have researchers, authors, lecturers, people that are into spirituality.
Thought leaders.
It's so much fun.
Incredible.
I know.
Two hips and a hooray that I'm on this show because I've wanted to talk to Patrick for quite some time now, and man, we have talked to some really fascinating. I think they're the most prolific on the planet. I mean, what an honor it is to have our paths cross with these individuals. Like 5-6 years ago, we weren't doing any of this, and we would never have these conversations.
I know, it's so great, and the emails that come in, and for us, we're on the same journey you guys are on, trying to figure out what's true, trying to figure out what protocols are going to help us, trying to be on our own spiritual, emotional, physical journey, and trying to heal so that we can become the best versions of ourselves. So we're on the same journey you guys are on, listening, and we're all in this together. And so when we get to talk to people like this, it's fun to be able to share information and put it out to you guys into the world, and hopefully that's our work into the world. You know?
Amen.
So today we're going to be talking about water spirituality, and you're probably thinking, water spirituality, what the hell? How is water spiritual? So we're going to be talking about that.
Well, although the first thing that comes to mind is the Bible, all the baptism and all the things.
Oh, that's right.
There is a very deep connection with water.
That's true.
There you go.
Yeah, that's true. Water, light, all of it, right?
Yep.
So we'll be talking with Patrick Durkin, and he is the man, the myth, the legend behind a company that we like to support, the Wellness Enterprise, and we have some of their products, and we'll be talking about those. But we're going to be talking about his journey and the stuff that he's into, water and spirituality, and so we thought we'd bring him on. So can you hear us okay, Patrick?
I can. I've been listening to your intro, and I was thinking, about your excitement with talking to me. I was thinking, I'm so excited to talk to you, I could jump up and down. And I was like, hey, nobody knows what I'm doing right now, so I started jumping up and down. So I'm that excited.
That's awesome.
Oh, my gosh, I love it.
It's like you're going the Tony Robbins route and changing your state, you know?
Pumping himself up.
Yeah, and you know, as I was jumping up and down, I just started to get lit up by goosebumps.
Oh.
And so the state that I'm in right now is I just feel connected and alive and vibrant. Like, what a place to have a conversation.
Oh, it's the best, right? I mean, a lot of times people do that when they, you know, just before they get on stage or something, to change their state. I think it's a pretty cool idea.
For sure.
How much percentage are we of water? I forget, the human body? What percentage of water are we?
You know, Kate, if you ask me that, you're going to get a deep answer,
okay.
right? Because everybody else would be like, right, like 72%. But the thing is, it changes. And there's really two good answers to give you.
Right.
So one is we're born high 90s% water.
All right.
That's why babies' cheeks feel so good.
Oh, they're all squishy.
Right? They're all water.
Watery baby.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And then by the time we die, if we live our ripe, long life, we look more like prunes, and we're like 50% water. You know,
So
and our skin is flaky and dry. So, right, so it's changing. And so one of the things that I do with my life is to kind of run this experiment, like, how much water can I keep in my cells?
Yeah.
How much at the time? Right? Can I stay more baby-like? So that's one answer. But then the other answer is, instead of by volume, by number. So by number of water molecules, how many of the molecules are in your body are water? And the answer is 99%.
Wow.
So basically, if you look at the air in front of you as just water vapor that's less dense, and the water in your body as more dense, and then the ocean that I'm looking at right now, just there's pure water, 100%. It's water everywhere.
Life is water.
Whatever created us, whatever that creative force is, it said water is the thing to have everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny if you read even the Bible in the first few verses, you know, it talks about the waters above the waters are separated from the waters below the waters, and
water.
Darkness was on the face of the deep, and all this references to water within the first couple paragraphs. You know?
That's huge.
It's pretty crazy.
Dang.
Yeah, it's right there at the beginning.
Yeah, so fascinating. So 99% water. So when you say that, does that mean like every cell has some form of water in it, or some?
It means that the water molecules are really teeny tiny, and so the other molecules that are around that are not water, which I've never really asked, what are those? Those are bigger.
Okay.
And so what that means to me is like water gets into everything. It's there, like, even, you know, I was listening to Bob Proctor, you know, from The Secret talk.
Love that guy.
Love him.
Right? Amazing. And he's talking and he's saying everything's vibrating. And I'm in this like conference room in a hotel, and I'm looking at this solid wall next to me, and I'm going, I know you're moving in there. Like, I know your energy too. And because I'm listening to him, and the resonance of what he's saying is true, but I'm looking at the wall and going, how can that be?
Yeah, you look so solid.
Right.
It looks so solid. And then over time, you know, like I'm looking at a brick right now, and I'm like, wow, you're a lot of water.
Wow.
And with my eyes, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I know if we dry all the water out of something, it just crumbles into dust.
Right.
So, you know, we're still figuring it out, but I think the important part is that water is everywhere and it's connecting everything. And so from there, it gets easier to consider life as happening inside of a quantum soup. And when it's in that quantum soup, it's easier to understand how anything is possible and how anything can change.
Yeah, that's so true, because we're all connected through water, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because if we're...
you talk about...
Yeah, sorry. If we're water and everything else is water, if everything is connected like a soup, like you're talking about, then you can start seeing how we're all connected, but it looks like we're not, and that's the whole name of the game, is trying to figure out that we are. But
what
water...
that means, though, like, to be connected, when you think about it, like...
Yeah. Well, let's bring forth a little bit more how we can help people understand it.
Yeah.
So experiments have been done where they take two people and they separate them by 3,000 miles, and they put these measurement nodes on them, and the experience of one person 3,000 miles away with seemingly no communication force, like they're not on a phone line together, and the person that's 3,000 miles away experiences changes that are happening to the other person.
Jeez.
Well, there must be a mechanism for that, and I can't say I'm an expert in that mechanism, but I put as a candidate in the conversation water, that it actually happens in the center of the water molecule, and I just hold that as, well, maybe that's possible. And then I hear about experiments that are done where a flare ignites on the surface of the sun, and that information takes X number of minutes to travel to the Earth, and yet measurements show that the information is instantaneously available in water molecules on Earth.
Wow. Isn't that some of the work like the solar flares, and that's how they're able to understand that, right? Is that what they're measuring?
Yeah, exactly. So, I've had people tell me about this, but not in a, I went to get a PhD and I was in a lab and I was able to understand it that kind of way. I guess that's not really how my mind works anyway.
Right. I'm with you.
Even if they gave me that opportunity, I'd probably pass.
Yeah, likewise.
No fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
But I do like when other people publish themselves and they are all trained in the scientific curriculum and they put those types of things forth, and that's what we're talking about here.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just so curious. So, this conversation could go so many directions, and I'm sure it will, and it'll weave around and be what it wants to be. But so the solar flare, say that's true, and there's this mass amount of information exposed to all of us. How come some people aren't? How come we're not all getting the same? Like, you'd like to think, okay, if the information was just for argument's sake, like we all are exposed to, the mind of God, or we know how the world was created, or something crazy where we're all supposed to know. But say like a third of people get that and the other people aren't understanding anything or just go on their daily life and miss it. Is it just that people aren't in tune, or are they not enough water to be able to accept that information? That's kind of a weird question.
I love that question.
Do you?
I love that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be too weird.
Well, no. So let's see if we can get at it through an example. So if one of my kids wakes up on Saturday morning and turns on YouTube on an iPad and holds the device a foot away from themselves and stays in that position for 10 hours.
Yeah.
And now I introduce you to them. Kate, this is my son.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of energy is that child going to be in?
Zombie.
Right?
Yep.
Zombie. He's
Yep.
going to literally be like droned out to be a fraction of his capability.
Right.
All right, now let's take the same kid and let's get him to go for a 3-mile hike on a local mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's hydrating and giving himself nutrition while he's exercising, and then we meet you at the bottom of the mountain, and I introduce you to him.
Right. He's going to be pumped, like,
What kind of-
hey, energy.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, so the way I understand these two things is the first one is discordant energy, discord,
Okay.
and the second one is harmonious
All right.
energy. And so in a world that I've thought about from the perspective of oneness a lot, I don't have so much good, bad, positive, negative, black, white, right, wrong. I just have, are we more chaotic, are we more discordant, or are we more harmonious? So the person who isn't receiving the message of God, as you described it in your question, that person, I bet, is under a lot of man-made influences. I bet they have pharmaceuticals in their body. I bet they their cells have tricked them into thinking they get energy from a coffee and sugar thing from Starbucks instead of from living water. I bet they watch a lot of the evening news. I bet they don't go for a lot of walks.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Not
So
an
I
open
actually think-
responder. or accept it.
No, they're not connected to this living quantum soup in a harmonious fashion. They're connected to it in a chaotic fashion.
Huh.
Yeah, and
that makes sense.
And then they're probably also under lots of stress from work and, stressors in their life from the food and all the different things in their life that are causing them to be, disconnected from all of that. And so it's all probably just ties together, I would imagine.
It's so deep, Justin. It's, they probably have a job where they give away their power to another. They probably do work that furthers chaotic energy in the world.
Yeah.
And so there's like an essence of them that's going, hey, this isn't right. This isn't right. I don't know how to get myself out. And then there's all their daily, well, that's why we do these shows, right?
Yeah.
So we can help them get out, because there's all these daily experiences that they have that keep them trapped, and their essence is under there going, got to be a better way.
Yeah.
There's got to be something different for myself and humanity.
Yeah.
And maybe that's all they've got. Like, maybe that's all they access. Or maybe they're like you. They're on a path to ask questions and find out. And then we could just keep layering in more harmonious energy and deepening it and deepening it and deepening it. And then the funny thing about it all is that it's all connected through the water molecules.
It's interesting to me that, like, as you become, I don't know what comes first. It's like the chicken or the egg. If, you get healthier and then you crave better water, or if you start living your mission, you become healthier, then you start. But this water component is, in my opinion, has been something that has been a big part of my life, because I used to be just a Coke drinker and drink juice and Snapple and all these sort of drinks.
Snapple.
And I never, how good were Snapples? They were so good, right?
Stuff, yeah.
But I never.
I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I haven't had one in 3 million decades, but
they taste great.
Really good.
But, I think as you start to wake up and as you start to, there's this process of getting healthier physically, then there's a process of waking up, and then there's a process of finding out what your mission is in life. And as those three start to open like a flower, like the water becomes a part of it. And now I couldn't even imagine drinking that stuff or a Coke or anything else. It's all, how much water can I drink in a day? And it seems like as you keep drinking the water and keep growing and keep getting healthier, it just kind of snowballs and it keeps becoming this thing that keeps going,
Yeah, I don't think there's one answer.
Yeah.
I think it's a progression. I do think that we can't access the infinite as easily if we're not drinking and immersing ourselves in living water. If we again go back to the Creator and look at the emphasis the Creator put on water, water must be really important. And so it's not a guarantee if I do something with water that my health's going to improve or my emotions are going to improve. It's likely, but once you get to the place of, like, I had 7 years where I was sick and I got largely better, and then there's an orientation, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right, where I move away from being all about what can I get for me and my family, and I start being about how can I serve others. And it's in the how can I serve other phase that I think that the energy of living water is vital for that person to be able to keep expanding and keep moving.
That's interesting concept.
Because I was thinking about it last night, or today being Martin Luther King Day, and you see on pictures of him cycling around, of social media stuff, and I think of that Beatles song, Imagine.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You hear all these things, and you're like, man, in concept, this stuff is really great, and you get all pumped up, and you're like, if we all connected, we all believe in peace, and we all believe in love, like, this could change the world. But I'm like, will it ever? Because some people refuse to be connected, or they don't know how to be connected, or maybe they're just really dehydrated. There's a bunch of things that I go, I'm not like a naysayer and saying this won't happen, and I would love that for our planet and our world, but I'm just wondering if there's going to always be just a group of disconnected people. So there needs to obviously be more of the people that are receiving and able to flow and give out and serve the planet. And I think that will change the vibration. But you just wonder if there's a certain amount of people that just can't come around because they're so blocked. I don't. Yeah, I just ask myself that question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wrestle with that one, and
it's hard.
Where I come Yeah, where I come down on it is that there's a multidimensional experience. And so I can create whatever experience I want.
Yeah.
And those that are asking the questions, they're probably going in the same direction I am. They're just at different states of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the people that are just like fighting it all the way, not asking questions.
Right. Huh. It's in the asking of the questions. I think I really would agree with that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's so interesting, the idea that that you can't, or a person cannot accurately be connected to God or to Source without living water. Because, I think about this a lot, where you look at certain people and they're spiritual leaders or they're pastors or something like that, and you can just tell that they're not living a lifestyle that's congruent with that kind of message. And so it's challenging for me to like, okay, do I listen to this person even though they may not be living it? Because there is that separation of, is something true whether or not I believe or I live it. And it's still true even if I don't live it. So it's challenging, where's that balance with people? It's, I don't know, it's interesting.
That is interesting.
What I've learned is that we can't possibly know what it takes for another for them to evolve their soul's evolution. And so one of my greatest teachers has also been one of the most troubling people for me to be around in my life.
Oh, nice. That's always the way it is, right?
Right?
Right.
I'm like, wow, thank you for all the gifts, and how can you possibly be so incongruent?
Right.
And that's mine to keep to myself.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, and getting to that point is a spiritual lesson in and of itself, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Not easy. At the beginning of that journey, I had a lot of complaints.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, well, you're going to do it the way you do it, and I'll just keep doing the best me that I know how to do.
And it's been sort of a lesson, a soul lesson for me is allowing everyone to have their journey and not trying to change anyone. Because there was this doctor that was talking recently about, I think it was Carl Jung. He was talking about when someone tries to change somebody else, they're on the path to becoming more sick than that person is. And everyone is here for their journey. And so for me, I've been learning it's a balance to not try to force someone to be healthy or to adopt healthy principles, and just being there for them and knowing not hiding what I do. And that's challenging to do. It's important for people to know what you're about, but also not trying to be in that place where you're trying to help everyone do something they don't want to do. And so it's interesting because all of this health stuff ultimately goes back to spirituality, and especially water, because we're joking around at the beginning, where does water fit in with spirituality? But it's so deeply connected,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. If you want to prove to yourself that it is, just try not drinking any water for a few days.
Yeah. Right.
Watch what happens to your mood. Your emotions will go first.
Yeah.
And then your vitality. And keep it up long enough and you'll die. By the way, people say you die if you don't drink water for 3 days, but that's bull. I have a friend who, when her husband left her, she decided she wanted to die, not so overtly, not like suicide, but she stopped eating and drinking. And she basically didn't drink any water for about 90 days.
Whoa.
And yeah, when I met her, her wrists were so thin, it was almost unbearable to look at them.
Oh.
And she literally had the point of being in the hospital, and that they wanted to give her water and electrolytes, and they said, we don't know what's going to happen when we do this. It may be too big a shock to your system, and you may die. And she actually experienced crossing over and coming back.
Wow.
And that was the experience she wanted to have. So our bodies are more resilient. And she was, by the way, praying to her body. She was saying to her body, please just hold on. I'm going to figure this out.
Whoa.
Wow.
But that was about all that was keeping her the thread she was hanging on to. So, we can go without water for quite some time. But you definitely, our vitality and our emotions are going to get sapped within a pretty short amount of time. For me, it's like an hour.
For me, it's like 10 minutes.
Water.
I'm just kidding.
Right, all the time.
Yeah.
Have you felt yourself the need for less water or more water as you continue to drink structured water?
There was a time when I was drinking alkaline water, and I had a goal during that time, which was to drink about 1.5 gallons a day because I had this theory that more was better.
Wow.
And it was always work. It was like I had to measure it and structure it and force it.
Yeah, it's all laborious.
It was.
Yeah.
And when I shifted to structured water, gradually the desire to be that way I forgot about it. And what happened was I started to drink water when I was drawn to it and get satisfied by it. And I really liked that. I was like, that's a really cool concept. And I think now that I'm a couple years down the road, I think I probably consistently drink between 3/4 of a gallon and 1 gallon a day. So a 1/3 to 50% decrease than when I was on alkaline water. I don't measure it, so I don't know for sure, but that's about my guess.
Huh.
And wow, that's interesting. So you don't even measure it anymore. You just sort of do it by feel.
Yeah, and just make sure I'm satisfied. So I know that a call like this, I've done a lot of these now, they can go 2 hours. And so I've learned, don't go into one of these calls with one 17-ounce bottle on my desk.
Right.
It doesn't work. So I have 2 set now, and I won't run out while we're talking.
That is so cool. Hey, what are your thoughts about, I think we mentioned this in one of our shows, but what are your thoughts about putting water next to material that you want to consume, like reading books and stuff like that? Or, some people may inadvertently put it next to, their computer screens or something like that, where, it may have a negative effect on the water. I'm not sure. But if you put the water next to books or magazines or things you want to read, have you had any experience
of the absorption of information? And stuff?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I have had an experience like it, not that one, but what I did was, this particularly happens with water science books, is I'm like, God, this is dense. And so I put them on the pillow next to me. And so I invite that which I need to know from this book be absorbed while I sleep. So I do it direct to the water in my body, not to a glass or anything.
Interesting.
But then the other thing related to what you're saying is, here's my desk with my Mac computer on it, and then next to my water is a pyramid, a crystal, 2 structured water devices, and my phone, and a salt lamp. So my water is surrounded by harmonious contributions.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's the way I like it. I like everything in my life to be surrounded by harmonious contributions.
Yeah, why not, right?
Right.
It's like that idea that
choice.
You everything in your house or everything in your closet is something that you love, and there's a definite
purposeful, or you don't have it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Life's too short.
Life's too short. Yeah.
Wow, you guys, I got some shirts to get rid of.
Nice.
I do love that. It helps me get rid of stuff, though, and I think, is it serving a purpose or is it enjoyable? Because some things aren't. I'm like, well, yeah, why am I holding on to that crap? But okay, I have to ask you, this Vita Jewel thing, I love that water bottle. I've used it since the day it came, which we've had it for a while now.
Yeah, maybe a year?
Probably.
Or, I don't know, maybe a little under a year. Probably.
Maybe. But the thing is, I wish it was ginormous. I wish it was the size of a gallon, because I have to fill that thing and I love filling it, but I drink it all day long, and all the girls at my work freak out about it, and they all want to know, what do the crystals do? But I was telling you before the show, Patrick, it tastes different. Do you, and I have the rose quartz in there, and I've studied what, certain elements and rocks and gems do to the structure of water and things. But do you hear that so often from people saying their actual taste of their water is different? And what do you think that is?
So I just want to take a quick break and thank you guys for your support over the last 5-6 years of us doing the show. The way we continue doing the show is through your support in our store, and our store has some of the most unique and amazing, in my opinion, health products. And some of the more recent products that we have are the blue blocking sunglasses, the Omron personal nebulizer, which is a great way to nebulize and breathe in colloidal silver into your lungs. We've got the MitoLife DHA. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that. That is an amazing product, and Kate's been doing that for her pregnancy. We've got the Air Doctor Pro Air Purifier. We've got the IMRS Magnetic Mattress Pad, PEMF. We've got the Sauna Dome from Truly Heal. We've got the Chili Pad that we sleep on every night. And what I really love is the Chi machine. I use that often, and I love that thing. We've got oxygen concentrators, saunas, rebounders, blenders. We've got the Intramax. We've got the Scalar Energy Rest Shield that sits right by my bed when I go to sleep. One of my favorite things is the Magnetico mattress pad. It's one of our ways to mitigate the coming 5G and the wireless radiation that we're all being bathed in every day. The Rapid Release Technology Pro. We've got Savvy Rest organic beds, grounding earthing sheets. We've got the Vitalizer Plus to help structure your water, which I love. All kinds of really awesome products in our store. So thank you guys for checking out our store. Anytime you're looking for a health-related product and thinking of us at that time, we've got some great stuff in there. We're going to be adding more products as time goes on. So thank you for listening. Let's get back to the show.
I would say that's between like 10 and 40% that go right to the taste and jump up and down about it.
Okay.
And those are cool because that person tends to have really fine sensory perception.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So you do you ever drink wine?
Yeah.
And do you notice the difference between a good bottle of wine and
for sure.
not as good?
Yeah, for sure.
Like you're sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm not.
I'm a connoisseur.
Yeah, I'm
Just
not.
kidding.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, you're right.
No.
Yeah. Justin's like
Justin,
red wine is red wine.
Right. And Justin, do you notice a difference in the taste of the water?
I don't notice any difference in the flavor, in the taste at all. No,
Interesting.
but I love it and I use it. But
right?
I don't notice. But I can't tell the difference between wines
So
either.
I'm better than you are, really. That's what it comes down to.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
That's a good choice. Justin. Very
Totally
good.
kidding. Yeah.
So I think that has to do with like which senses a person has more active, and I actually think, as wonderful as it is, like when somebody like you experiences it, you become a raving fan because it's such a palpable sensation for you, and it's so clear. But more, instead of like a 10 to 40% of the audience noticing, one that a lot more people notice is that it feels softer, wetter, or silkier.
Mm-hmm. I get that too.
So right?
Mm-hmm.
So the softness, the feeling of it. And Justin, be honest, do you notice any softness or silkiness or not at all?
That I do.
Okay.
But I don't notice any difference in flavor, but the softness I do feel that.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that we need to learn how to do as a company better is just solidifying this, so we teach people when you feel the difference, you know the physics has changed, and now you know it's working in your body.
Oh.
Just as there's a thought pattern for me to coalesce there to help more people see how they know structured water is different, because that sense is widely available. That, and then the other one that's probably equally common is, I don't notice any difference, but there's no way you could get me to give my bottle back.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. So I can relate to that.
Right?
Yeah.
They're just I like it. No, I'm keeping this. No, this is important to me. Okay. Do you notice any difference? No. Oh, okay.
That's so funny, isn't it?
Well, I drove back.
Yeah.
I was halfway home from work for my day job, and I went back to get it because I left it at the office. I'm like, it's the weekend. Like, I can't leave it there. And I didn't want the cleaning people that, you just kind of wonder if stuff's going to disappear. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I feel like I just have a love affair with my bottle. It's hilarious.
That's funny.
But I sense it's funny. I tell, again, all the girls at work are all interested. Nobody's bought one, but I'm like, come on, guys. You're like, and I rave about this thing. They probably think I'm crazy, but they think it's pretty. Most people think it's like when they don't understand anything about water.
Yeah, at the very least,
it
looks
pretty.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, it looks great.
My sister who's into yoga would like that. You hear all kinds of funny things.
Right.
I tell them it's like drinking silk. It is silky water, and that's the only word I can describe. I've never had such, back in the day when I didn't know anything about water, and you know, you'd be on a road trip and you stop in a gas station and get a bottle in plastic, but I'd always get the Fiji stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that tasted different to me even then. And I always thought, I will pay $3.99 for a small bottle of water because it tastes like silk. It's like liquid silk. And the only thing that's reminded me of that is this water bottle. I mean,
Wow.
I love it, Patrick. I love it.
That's cool.
I'm so glad.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
Yeah, just so you know, Kate, we have 2 bigger containers.
Oh, you do? Why did I not know that?
Well, we haven't talked like this yet. So it's time to find out.
Okay, tell me what you got.
We call them decanters, and one is 50 ounces, and one is 7 liters.
Whoa.
So about 2 gallons.
I'm going to bring it up.
Oh, my
here.
gosh.
Did you know that, Jay?
No, I'm looking on the
I've
website
been on your
now.
site. Let me bring it up here. Okay.
I don't see it.
Yeah, so it's called the Grande dispenser is the big one.
Is that new?
And no, it's actually the first time I had VitaJoule. I hadn't even had it myself yet, other than testing it at a friend's house. I shipped it into a conference, and I shipped in these big dispensers. And then I spent 5 days there drinking out of the dispensers. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I sold them while I was there. So I came home and I didn't have one. And I was so sad.
Oh, wow.
I was like, where's my dispenser? and you know, I have like these amazing devices installed on the pipes of my house.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's not like I was longing for good water, but I really felt a letdown not having the dispenser. And so I got one, of course, and then I've been using it every day since. And what I've come to understand is that putting that dispenser on my countertop, it's like taking my relationship with water to the level of art. Right?
Wow.
You know, I'm a pretty linear guy, like practical, reasonable. Everything's like for a purpose to get something done.
Mm-hmm.
And here I went to art, and I have to like feel this artistic thing every day. I love it. Absolutely love it. Can't imagine not having it.
Well, I can't even imagine, like, what that means for conferences or retreat centers, or like, I think this could be a huge way to display how not only great tasting and beautiful and silky water can be, but like, I think it's a conversation starter in a public place. That would be really neat to have more people have that on their desk.
Yeah,
I can't find it. Can you see it?
I can see the VitaJoule dispenser Grande, but I can't see that one looks like it's 2 gallons.
Yep, that's the big one. That's the one we were talking about.
And I can't find the other one, the smaller, sort of mid-range one. What is that one?
It's in the same section under the accessories. Our shopping cart needs to be redone.
Okay.
I apologize that that's not more
this
clear.
is just good for people to know.
But it's in under the accessories,
Okay.
and it's called the Decanter Era. It's actually the first one in the accessories.
I see it now. Okay, and how much does that hold?
That holds 50 ounces.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so some people like to... Oh, you know what? That one's 44 ounces. My mistake. Some people like to fill that up and put it on their desk, and that way... You know, Kate, you don't have to like get up and like go take care of water as often. You just fill up the decanter and
which I'm not complaining, but yes, no.
That is great.
Yeah,
This is so
it's good to
cool.
move around anyway.
Oh my gosh, that Grande thing is insane.
Yeah, that one looks really cool too.
Yeah, I'm pretty much obsessed. We were talking before the show too. We're so excited about our system getting installed next week. We have our handyman guy coming out and putting it on our
house.
Our whole house filter.
Yeah,
we're
it's gonna be
so
amazing.
excited about this because I am like a daily bath taker with Epsom salt, and I have like a little, filtrate, what do you call that? Like a little water ball that hangs to filter out some of it. But it's creeped me out ever since we've moved into this house. And like, I just can't tell you how I'm going to I feel like I'm going to rest in peace knowing that I have clean, good
Yeah, it's going to be great.
absorption.
Awesome. So let's make sure that people aren't confused. So
Yes, let's talk.
What you guys are doing is installing a natural action structured water whole house device.
Correct. Right.
And so what that means is anytime you turn on a faucet or an appliance or anytime you move water in your house, it'll come through this device that's got sacred geometry and vortexing, and it will bring forth the energy of infinite energy, and the energy of creation in your water. So that softness that you've gotten used to, that, I'm drinking silk feeling, that'll be in your tub now.
So because I haven't been on the other show when you guys have talked about this, can you explain how that, is that happening within the pipe, and how is that even possible?
Yeah, it's so simple. We want it to be complicated.
I bet.
But, what I've learned on this journey is there's some ways the universe spreads its harmony. So one of them is vortexing. Mm-hmm. Another is sacred geometry. So an example of how I really learned that vortexing is important to the universe is I went for a walk in the ocean about mid-thigh deep, and I noticed how vortexes would spin off my legs while I was walking. So my movement caused water to spin. And then I started observing, and I came to understand that there's an infinite amount of these spinning vortexes just within where I can see. And then I came to understand that mathematicians will tell us that the spin inside of a vortex is infinitely fast. So we just think there's water spinning there, but there's actually something infinite happening right there in our presence.
So when you were, just to clarify, when you were walking in that ocean water, the vortexes are happening, but you're just interrupting them. You're walking through them. You're not causing them.
We're actually causing them.
We're causing.
Everything that's moving, we're causing them. They're being caused by the waves. They're just everywhere. Like once you start looking into water, you're like, wow, it's spinning all over the place. And it's the same spin as a tornado.
Right.
Right? So when a tornado touches down on the earth, it takes the matter that's there and reorganizes it into something else.
Right.
When a vortex spins in water, it cleans the water and re-energizes it.
That's so crazy.
So what happens to, like, I don't even know what they're putting in water. Are they doing fluoride and whatever else?
Myriad of things.
What's happening to that physical molecule, I guess, of when it goes through the filter or the whole house, the natural action one that we're getting? What happens to those molecules?
So we're conditioned to think that water is H2O, right? One hydrogen, two oxygen. It looks like Mickey Mouse ears, and it's fixed that way. But if we go to the science of Dr. Pollack at the University of Washington, who's taught us about the fourth phase of water, in his 2013 book, we start to find out that water is a living computer-like substance. Rustum Roy was a very famous material scientist, and he said, water may just be the most malleable computer there ever will be. Oh. And so what's actually happening in these water molecules is that there are billions of interactions happening every second, and that those interactions are causing changes between the way the hydrogen and oxygen are bonded together. It's not static. It's in perpetual motion. And what's happening is now that Dr. Emoto showed us the crystal photographs in the New York Times bestseller, The Hidden Messages in Water, and Dr. Pollack has told us that 99% of our molecules are water. We now have lots of labs with big names, big universities around the world that are coming out with discoveries and saying, we don't know everything about it, we might not know what to say about it, but we can tell you there's properties going on in water that we don't understand and that are different than what the published science is.
Yeah, I remember when that came out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I remember when that came out with is he Dr. Pollack? Gerald Pollack?
Gerald Pollack, yeah.
Yeah. He was on a TEDx talk, I think, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that a while ago and thinking, that was one of the, we'd had a few guests on our show between now and then, and I knew a little bit, but that was the kind of thing that, was a mind blower to me. The things he talked about is, I had no idea water contained any of this amount of, controversy, but information and confusion for people. I just hadn't, and the power. I had no clue any of this existed, and I think that's the average person walking around. Nobody thinks about water, and you're right, we all view it as, if you know anything, you think of the structure like the Mickey Mouse ears. You don't think of it being malleable or changing or the problem when we turn on our tap. What's going on? You just don't think about this stuff.
You don't. Yeah,
it's so dangerous.
Right.
So what's happening is that, let me just make sure that I understand this correctly, is that there are billions of interactions on probably a subatomic level as well.
The vortexing?
With the vortexing of water. And so what happens is that when these interactions happen, it changes the hydrogen bond, and
spins it.
And spins it, and then what?
You're doing great.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
You're doing great. It brings it back into resonance with creation instantly.
Okay, when these different energies are sort of bumping into one another in water molecules? Okay.
Yeah, the water remembers, right? Water has memory. Mm-hmm. So the water remembers what it was like in its pristine state of origin. And as soon as it touches the vortex and the sacred geometry, it instantly goes back to that vibration.
Okay, is that all water, or is there water that's like gone through the system of all this fluoride and all this stuff they add to it, and it's dead now? I mean, and it's not being vortexed through a system like ours or yours, or is there water that's just forever dead and that memory's gone?
No. I'll give you an example of how I know water can't die. People call water dead, but let's say we take one molecule of water and put it on your countertop and separate it from all the other water molecules, and then we stand there and watch it. Eventually, it's going to evaporate.
Right.
And it's going to rejoin the hydrological cycle. It's going to demonstrate oneness to us right before our eyes.
That's crazy.
By the fact that it's evaporated and changed its state.
And it rejoins its group.
Yeah, every time.
It's not like, it doesn't go away into the ether and it's gone.
Right.
What?
So,
yeah, that's interesting.
What you're talking about is you're saying if we really concentrate discord, if we really try and kill water, can we kill it?
We can't.
And the answer is no. Because, like us, we're infinite. Water's infinite. And it's showing us. That's what it's here for. It's here to show us that we're one and that we're infinite.
That's so interesting. It's just merely in the same way that human beings, their bodies will die. It's the same thing, and it just changes state.
Like that Infinite Self book. Was that Stuart Wilde?
Oh, gosh, that was such a good book.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the message there, too. It's like we change state. We change pattern.
Yeah, we change, and then we rejoin our tribe, and then we change states again.
That's it.
That's an interesting idea.
All of a sudden, the concept of a holographic universe and a fractal universe where all the parts have the same properties as the whole, it starts to make sense.
Now, I have to ask you, we're getting that natural action whole house filter. I got a couple questions. One is, like, what happens if we put it on our pipe? It goes through that, but then it also, after it goes through the natural action filter, it then goes through more piping. So I want to ask you about that. But before I forget, I want to ask you too, on your house, I know you have the Javara thing, and I think Jen was telling me on email or phone, I forget, that people will use the whole house filter along with the Javara. And is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can have any combination of these things that you want. So I have the Javara, which is the kind of the Rolls-Royce version, on my whole house pipe. So all water that moves in my house goes through that. But then right when I take a shower, the water comes out of a natural action device. So I amplify it a little more because I can. Because I can afford that and I choose to. And then at my kitchen faucet, I pull it out and I put it into the VitaJoule dispenser grande. I put that on the countertop every day. And then when I go to pull the water out of the grande, I put it into a VitaJoule individual bottle.
Okay.
And I drink from that.
Wow.
And then I keep the Javara handheld device, the one that's gold-plated, on my desk. And I've actually found what I like most doing with that is breathing through it. So just before you guys called me, I spent, 6 or 7 breaths through that device, and it completely activated my crown chakra and my third eye.
So you're stacking a lot of the things together. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, Kate, what would a spa day be with your girlfriends if you only did one service, right?
That would be horrific.
That would be
right.
Tragic.
You gotta,
be the worst ever.
Right? Why not do a whole day? And
totally.
So if I can create harmony in lots of ways, I have an affiliate that's a metaphysical shop locally.
Oh, okay.
And I went in to drop off some inventory for them, and I picked up this hematite pyramid that's in my hand right now. And, one day I'm about to go for a walk on the beach, and I hear, "Take me with you." I'm like, okay. It's only like a half inch by a half inch, little pyramid. So I take it with me. I walk down the hill. I get on the beach, and I hear, "Put the pyramid on your head." I'm like, all right. At this point, like I surrender to these voices, and so I put the pyramid on my head. And I don't have any hair on top of my head, so it's kind of convenient for things like these.
Nice.
And I walked about 3/4 of a mile with this thing on my head.
Whoa.
And
that's funny.
It was so grounding and made me so high that now, while we're talking, I just touched it up there for a second. Like I literally put it on my head for 1 second and took it off. And the energy that I created on that walk, I can feel that energy again. Just in 1 second. Yeah, right? What is going on there?
Yeah, that would be a cool thing to meditate with, and that's really cool. You can use that probably I bet you can take it in your car and drive with it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
starting
cool.
to have, there are now crystals in the door of my car, and they're, starting to, in fact, just before our show, I was reading about how to set up a crystal grid in your home.
Oh, Justin, your eyes lit up over there.
Yeah, I've
You've been so interested in that.
I've been interested in that. Yeah. So what have you learned about that?
There is an organization led by a woman named Tiara Kumara, and it's called Children of the Sun. And Tiara is extraordinary. And what she's doing is she's helping light workers and people who are interested in ascension to know how to do what there is to do. So let me see if I can be more specific about that. So the email that I was reading today is there's 2 full moons in January this month.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, they call that a blue moon. And the second one on January 31st is going to be a time when the veil is very thin. And so she's instructing those like me who are interested to build a crystalline grid in our homes, and then we're going to do an energy transmission where we sync up our crystalline grids to the Earth's crystalline grid and to one another. And so we are amplifying energy fields of harmony around the planet.
Okay, that's cool.
So how are you doing that together? How are you syncing that up?
I just do whatever Tiara says to do.
Yeah.
I can introduce you guys, and you might want to have
That'd
her
be cool.
on. She's amazing.
Wow, whereabouts is she located?
Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah, I just pulled up her website, which I think is her website, childrenofthesun.org.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that stuff right there, the energy transmissions that come with her programs are so strong that I've had consecutive months of extraordinarily deep sleep. I just put on whatever one is up next for me, and then I just zonk.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Absolutely zonk, because it's like too much for me to take in mentally.
Yeah, overload.
So I just take it in through my energy field.
Now,
Wow.
how are crystals and water related? Do you know?
I'm finding out.
Yeah, because
I'm learning.
Yeah, I think that there's some sort of connection between crystals and water. Like, I forget. I just learned so much, over the last few years, but I can't remember it all. But yeah, it's just there's some sort of connection, because we'll put crystals underneath our bed and underneath our mattress and stuff like
Even
that.
before we had the VitaJoule too, we were soaking them overnight, a full moon and then a full sun cycle in the water we were doing. And
Right.
yeah, I feel like it's powerful. Yeah, do we still have them under our bed?
I think so. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be a connection, huh?
Yeah. So those.
Yeah. So I'm still learning about that, and I just found the VitaJoule bottles. It was about a year ago that you guys got it, because I just found them actually last February, so it's only been 11 months.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And
Happy birthday, Vita Jewel.
Yeah, right?
My Vita Jewel.
Right on. They've been doing them since 2007.
Oh.
And I've had the privilege of taking natural action technologies, becoming the number one distributor of it in the world, and then while selling those structured water devices, the marketplace said, hey, Patrick, if you're so against getting rid of plastic water bottles, why are you selling a device made from PVC? I was like, well, that's a great question. I'm not really against it. It's just that there's no better option.
Right.
And people hear me. They hear me say things like that, and they're like, oh, yeah, there is. And so these people came to me and showed me the Javara and said, this is better. This doesn't have plastic. And I was like, well, I don't know if it's better, but it's a good choice. So I added a second product line for those that can afford to choose.
More expensive.
Yeah, it's more expensive. It's a Rolls Royce compared to a Honda.
Right.
You know? And then Vita Jewel came along. And I was like, okay, it doesn't have a vortex. And I've always said the presence of a vortex is a deal breaker for me if it's not there.
Yeah.
And it does have sacred geometry. So I got to do more to understand this. So, universe, how do I come to understand myself so I can explain to others the difference between the three product lines? And what I was told for most of 2017 was, Patrick, you don't even know yet how to ask the questions that would be deep enough to begin to pull the understanding about what happens between crystals.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
And I was like, just totally just humble in the face of that. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what to ask. That's cool.
Yeah, you don't even know what to ask. That's a crazy place to be in.
That's a crazy answer to get.
It is,
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So I now have two deeper answers than that. One is watch the people. And so what the people have shown me is that we all consume Vita Jewel 10 or 20 times more readily and faster than the other devices. And I think part of that is because they're just beautiful. Part of it is because they're less expensive. And part of it is because there's a resonance in our cells that we're just like, I need that. Like, you like it enough, Kate, that you'll drive back to work and go get your bottle.
Exactly. I know. It's
right?
It's crazy.
So we just want it. So one is to watch the people. And then the second is that if we look inside, in my mind's eye, imagine what's in the earth. It's crystals and water.
Yeah.
And so I think what's happening is there's a way in which we're distributing these crystals out into people's lives. And in my case in particular, conscious capitalism is really important. So I don't consider it like a business like I did in my first career that was about money.
Mm-hmm.
I consider it like a sacred thing to have the privilege of selling somebody a product.
Yeah.
And so when I send these products out, I send them with the intention that I'll know what I'm supposed to do to activate them together or to send love to all of them or whatever. Like they're a magnifying structure. And so I send them all out now with my love and with my intention that when we're supposed to evolve to a higher level of understanding, that I'll receive that message and I'll know what to do.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
a whole other level of. I feel like that's when you know you're connected with your purpose, when you're doing stuff like that. When it's not just a product; it's exposing people to love. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
That's what my company's all about, Kate.
Well, I can tell, Patrick, because even before I've talked to you, when we received our Vita Jewels, I felt like a love from you sent my way. It was really cool. And rarely do, if people send us things here and there, I feel like they're awesome to share those things, but there was something about it that felt like love. I mean, it was really a unique experience for me. So I think what you are doing is very effective, and the love behind your work shows,
Thanks. I want to share my cutting edge with you guys. You guys wouldn't know to ask this question. So
please.
So I think we're all evolving, and I get the privilege of feeling all the energies I'm feeling about and discerning.
Yeah.
And I recently had an experience This is kind of similar to some of the stuff Justin and I got into on the second call.
Okay.
Where a prospect called on the phone, and she had laryngitis. And as we spoke, my throat began to clog.
Whoa.
And I had to put her on hold and excuse myself and go hawk some loogies. I mean, I was like, all of a sudden, like I'm totally healthy, and now I've got loogies.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Right? So
heck?
I finished the call with this person. Interestingly, she didn't buy, which most people do. I was like, okay, well then that even deepens that she was just here to send me a message.
Uh-huh.
So I called one of my teachers and I said, hey, I'm having a problem. I am too susceptible to the public's energy, and I let this experience happen to me. And she said, okay, take a deep breath. Are you open to a different story? I'm like, yeah, that'd be much better. I would like a different story. She said, well, what's actually happening is that you've now got a degree of self-mastery that allows you to be of service to others, and the reason you got the stuff in your throat from that person is because you're actually capable of transmuting it. And so what you do is you go spit your loogies, and then you get quiet, and you see what you need to do to release the energy of that, and you've now lightened the burden for that other person.
Oh. Now that's interesting. So you kind of carry the burden because you know you can for a moment, and then that, by doing that allows the other person to go through with it a little bit more grace.
A little bit more grace. So my responsibility is to take care of myself in those interactions, but that, my sense of self is now got her in it, right? Like the palpable sense of oneness is now getting to a different level for me.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like we talked about at the beginning, the water is what shows us we're one, and now that's showing you in a practical way.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So the water made this woman call me. Everybody that calls me, when they get me on the phone specifically, there's always something that's supposed to come through for them or for me or both. And I've gotten pretty attuned now to listening for it. Like, what's the unique contribution that I'm supposed to make to this person to help both of us evolve into the greatest version of ourselves?
Wow, that's really it seems like an upgraded way of thinking, because a lot of times people just think of, like, you know, one person sucking the energy from someone and one person giving the energy. But if you look at it from a higher level, why is it not possible that both people can be energized?
I say we pop that myth because in the world of oneness, that lower level understanding that we've had, it doesn't meet the test of reality. The reality is that it's all connected. And if there is like infinite energy, like there's no reason why both parties can't be healed or reinvigorated from a encounter.
Well, you know, I did this experiment. I worked 16 years in a really toxic hair salon, which is part of the reason that I, started doing this with Justin and I got my health gained back a lot. But there was about a month there before I quit where I had the worst attitude. I was like, these people are energy vampires. I'm standing on my feet all day. I'm around toxicity. I mean, my mind was in a bad place. And I thought, this isn't me, though. My core of me is I love people and I care about people. And people come back to me because they feel that kind of love. And that is who I am. That's my intention. And so I had about a month there, probably about 3 months before I quit, where I didn't experiment. I don't know if I told you this, but I would, after every client and before the first client, I would lay hands on my chair and I would pray, and I would say, change the energy here. Like, God, whatever that person is supposed to come in, whatever they're supposed to leave here, whatever, but don't let me absorb it. Protect my space. And I actually was like, how do I love these people to my full capacity without being vampire, just siphoning energy, because that's my biggest complaint all those years is I came home and I'm like, I need a blood transfusion. I need I can't do this.
Yeah.
And for that month, I swear, my love for people had a boundary in a healthy way. And I felt like, okay, if I wasn't so sick from these chemicals, I would just love to love people like this all day long. And it changed the way that I viewed my clients that were really hard for me. that I thought all they do is take, and suck. But
Wow.
it was a very interesting, so it's kind of like, and that wasn't even involving water, but that was we are water, so everything is water. But in my own experience, I found it to be really a unique thing. So I don't know, when Patrick was sharing that story, I kind of connected.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was beautiful. But I thought, man, the power, we don't understand the power we carry.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think you're just playing in the realms of discord and harmony.
Yeah.
You were just teaching yourself.
Yeah.
And so now you're pulling structured water into your whole home.
Yep.
And you bathe a lot. And so you're going to have a different experience there. And now some new experience is going to come in and layer with that old one. Those poignant moments, they layer together. And when we see the meaning of them all, that's when we really see ourselves.
Well, I can't imagine. I can't imagine, because we talk about this all the time where, there's power under. I mean, before we even have our system installed, we feel like we get the biggest hits in the shower, like people do. You have water running over you, and
moving water.
Moving water. 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting there in the shower at night, and it's dark, and I'm just showering off before bed, and I said, "What?" Like, I was just asking God, "What would you have me know?" And immediately, I got this hit, and it was like, He said it answered God. He said, "Justin and you're vessels of healing to the nations." And I'm like, where would that come from?
Yeah.
And it blew my mind. I got out and I'm like, okay, I have to write that down really quick. And that was journal fodder for the next week. But I thought, there's something about the power of water. There's being in the water immersed where you don't have thoughts like that usually walking around or driving or being in your car listening to music. It was so powerful. And
wow.
I just thought, wow, imagine when you have like structured geometry, sacred geometry, water running over you. I'm so excited to watch this journey,
When I was at the beginning of the journey getting inspiration like that, I used to feel like I needed to run to write it down because it was going to go away.
Oh, really?
Right.
And what I want to tell you, Kate, is once it starts, it doesn't stop. It just expands and expands. And, Justin, I was listening to our last interview, and I was noticing how you asked a couple of questions or amplified a couple of points about when I talked about things where I was receiving information from the energy field. Right? That seemed like a topic that you were interested in. And I had an experience with my son yesterday that was it was extraordinary. The two of us were sitting on the sides of my bed, and he had his laptop and I had mine, and he's working on his YouTube channel and I'm working on my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And I hear very clearly the inspiration. And these are the type of things I didn't hear in the past. And I hear, open a new tab and do a search for James. Okay. So I open a new tab and I do a search. And the next thing you know, James just started a YouTube channel a month ago. And he has 3,800 views in a month as a 15-year-old boy.
Whoa! Wow!
Right?
Great.
And why does he have that? Is because he has a passion for NFL football highlights.
No.
Loves them.
Okay.
So he's making videos, compilations with music and soundtracks of NFL highlights. And the world is responding and going, "Yeah, dude, your videos are really great." So he's having a lot of fun. He's developing that, and it probably helps that he has a father who has a YouTube channel and has been doing it for 4 years, right? So I do this search, and the next thing you know, I'm looking at jerseys. And then I'm thinking about how can James get deeper than YouTube with his videos? Like, what websites could he get embedded on? And then I'm doing Google searches to try and find websites that have NFL football highlights on them. And then I pull him in, and I said, hey, I got some ideas for you here. I'm thinking about how to get you a new source of traffic and how, maybe you could find companies that sell products and put videos with the highlights of the people in the products together, and that would keep the people on their pages for longer.
All right.
And he goes, Dad, I love jerseys.
Oh.
And then when he was he's 15 now, when he was 11, he built his first website.
Gee.
And all of a sudden, here's what comes out of this little tangent. Build a business now where he uses his WordPress skills to publish a site by himself, combining highlight videos with the sale of NFL jerseys. run that business for a couple of years until it gets boring, then get some kid to take it over for him and train entrepreneurs how to follow their passion, which is no deeper than NFL football highlights, to become a millionaire before you're 20 years old.
Wow. So is that is that something that he has written down?
He didn't even have to write it down because it's his DNA.
He knew.
It's
nice.
It's embedded.
That's the thing. Ding, 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 ding. Like the bell is rung. It's like he's like, Dad, I got a lot to do.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's so funny.
He could just see it all. So the pieces of the puzzle all of a sudden line up.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why he built that website when he was 11. That's why he loves jerseys. That's why he started with the YouTube channel. So it could all come together. And, you know, being a teacher to entrepreneurs, when he was like, I don't know, probably around 11, I was like, hey, do you want to be an executive coach? And he goes, no, that sounds stupid. I said, well, do you want to know what it is? He's like, yeah, all right, what is it? I said, well, you sit on the couch and you play on your phone and you listen to me work. And when I'm doing something that's stupid, you help me see how it could be done more simply. He's like, oh, yeah, I could do that.
No, but it's stupid.
Right?
No interest.
So,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, okay,
so
yeah, maybe.
At some point, he'll be training entrepreneurs. And it all, I mean, like, why to go to college and learn things that you have to unlearn to have a job for a corporation that you don't believe in what they're doing in the world, when you could just see, hey, I really like jerseys and highlights. And that's enough.
Amen.
I so agree with that. I think that's the coolest thing when people do that, because I think, you know, one of the ways of getting out of the matrix that is our crazy society is to be able to run your own business and to do what you want to do and to live the way you want to live, and to be able to get access to great drinking water during the day. If you want to work at home, you can do that, and you can get access to it, and you can live how you're supposed to be living. And I think that the best way to do that, I think, is running your own business and doing
that's
that.
Saying yes to the call, though. I mean, so many people get that and they don't respond. It's the response, you know, like, come on, people, imagine where we could be and what we could do. And I think people.
I know. I come from a family that's got some privilege, and my second child just went to college last fall, and he came home in December, and he said, I'm not going back. And there's some questioning going on from most of the family. Like, that's not the right thing.
Yeah.
And I'm applauding him. And people are a little upset with me. Like, why are you applauding him?
Right.
Well, he came home and he said to me, Dad, it takes discipline to be at school. I don't have it. I'm going to drop out. I'm going to come home and live with you for 6 months. Then I'm going to sail for the summer because I want one more summer being an 18-year-old kid teaching sailing. And then I'm enlisting. I'm going to boot camp, and I'm going to learn discipline.
Wow.
Gee.
Holy crap. Like, how amazing to have an 18-year-old know what he needs and how he's going to get it.
And even to recognize that itself is amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I'm so proud of him for having the courage to know what he wants to do.
And to do that in the face of the rest of his family. I mean, it probably helps that you are supportive, but for the rest of the family,
it's just awesome.
Yeah, for the rest of the family to not be supportive, and he probably knew that, and for him to be able to have the courage to do that is, you know, something that most 18-year-olds don't have, you know.
So brave.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. So I think all three of us are paradigm busters. Like, we think that there's something better available for humanity.
Yep.
And that's what we're spending our lives talking about and doing. And so if we can nurture people to realize that they know the answers are in their own passions and the things that make them feel good, and they don't have to do any of the shoulds that anybody is telling them about. Just keep moving away from those things that don't feel good and moving toward the harmony. And as Kate, you develop your harmony, and Justin, you yours, and me mine, and then these two boys of mine develop theirs, we're going to get a world made up of people filled with living their own harmony.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I want that world.
Yeah, that's an awesome, awesome world when people are doing that, because it makes everything better for everybody else. It makes it easier for those that have not yet taken that leap to have the courage to do that.
Well, that brings freedom. People are drawn to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Woo! Preach it.
I feel like we need to get you a pulpit.
I know. I'm like, where's the pulpit? That man on a soapbox.
Right on. Well, how amazing we're talking on Martin Luther King Day. Right?
I feel like that too.
I know.
Right? I always resonated with him.
I know.
And the vision that he had, and I mean the courage that he had, right? To have a home where a bomb is delivered to his home, and the two people he cares about most are there, and he rises up and meets that with love. Now, can we meet with love the things we fear, the things we hate, the things we think we should do that we really don't want to do? Can we meet all of those discussions with the courage to stand up and say, this message, this coalition of circumstances has been brought here to cause me to become the greatest expression of myself that I can. So whatever the conflict is here, I'm going to navigate it with courage. I'm going to face it. I'm going to communicate about it, and I'm going to resolve it. And I'm going to let it dissipate back into wherever it came from. I'm going to go forth having built my life from speaking about the things that people don't like to speak about until I get to the point that I get free. And then I can move easily from any conversation into any circumstance, and I can be okay.
Yeah, that's what it's really all about, that growth that comes through that. And being willing to accept what that journey will, where that journey will take you. That's awesome. I mean, it's like personal development meets spirituality, meets purpose. It's cool. And that's what's so fun for us doing this type of show is we get to talk to people like you who are also like that. Because I can't tell you how many people that I know and that are in our lives where you don't talk to them for 6 months, you don't see them for a year, you don't see them for a couple of years, and you see them again.
Or a decade.
And they're exactly the same. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just fun and inspiring to be around people who are always growing and on a journey, trying to figure out what their mission is, what their passion is, what they're supposed to be doing in this life, and then coupling that with spiritual growth and personal development. And so the next time you see them, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got all these things to tell you about. Oh my gosh, I've been learning this and that, and I've been doing this and that, and they're super excited about life. And that's what it's like talking with you. And the majority of the people on our show, it's kind of fun because it's like we get to sort of have that interaction where in a lot of our daily life, we don't have it that much. So it's a lot of fun.
It's sacred.
So awesome.
Yeah.
As I told you, I listened to our previous interview, and one of the things that I said in the previous one, Justin, when it was just you and me, is I described my feelings of feeling what a loser I was at age 35 because I was so boring to myself. Like I wanted to make more money for me and my family, and I wanted to talk about sports, and I wanted to drink beer. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so bored of hearing the words that come out of my mouth. Like, could I just, get a different life so I could talk about something different, please?
Yeah. Right.
And so I had this yearning. So 13 years later, I haven't had a drink for 3 years. Making money is a byproduct of serving people. And I do still enjoy some sports with my kids.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Got to have balance.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I say that as courage, communication of courage to people that are out there who are holding on to ways of being and they want a more dynamic life. Just do something. Just find something that's of interest to you. Like I was interested in what happens when you fill a recycling bin in a town or a college or wherever. Where does that stuff go, and how is the earth served by it? It was a question I've always had. And so I became the chairman of the recycling committee in my town, and then doing that made me want to start a project where I spoke in the schools to get them to stop using plastic bottles. And then that got me into water quality. And then water quality got me into water being alive. And water being alive had me find myself as an integrated physical and spiritual being. And then all of that has me live days where literally I never talk about the same thing 2 days in a row anymore.
Wow. Isn't it amazing?
My wish fulfilled.
It's so crazy, isn't it, to see where, like, you can look back and see the connections. Every little step, you can see where that led to the next thing. It's amazing when you look back. The hindsight is so crazy. So amazing.
Yeah, and that's only 13 years.
Right.
Yeah, right?
I mean, that's an entirely different career, entirely different ways of thinking, different behaviors, different actions, different people to interact with. The whole thing is different from 13 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That gives so
cool.
much hope. I love hearing those stories.
Yeah.
It's a story of hope.
It's great.
Jeez.
All right, so if people want to find you, the best place to do it is on your website, right? The wellnessenterprise.com?
Yeah, don't forget to type the at the beginning, thewellnessenterprise.com. Yeah.
TWE, the Wellness Enterprise. That's
TWE? THE? You
The
spelled two?
No, it's on their
I
website.
thought you said TWO.
TWE.
Okay, I'm losing it. TWA. I don't know what I'm talking about.
TWA.
Okay, I need more water.
The Wellness Enterprise, yeah.
I'm not hydrated, apparently.
Your brain's dehydrated.
Oh, my gosh. That was funny.
Well, thanks, Patrick, for another fun conversation and spending some time with us. It's got to be, 3 o'clock your time?
Yeah, about that.
Oh, cool. What else are you going to do the rest of today?
I am negotiating a new global distribution agreement for a structured water company.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I'm meeting with all of the key constituents and having, extraordinary conversations.
Oh, how fun is that going to be?
Is that all you're doing?
So that's my biggest project right now. Yep, that's it.
Shoot.
Wow, that's great.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and then when the boys come home, maybe we just cleaned out one room in the house and turned it into an indoor soccer stadium. So
how fun!
I think we might have to rumble a little bit.
There you go.
Well, yeah.
There you go. Get the energy out a little bit.
Wear your jersey.
Yeah.
Right on.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Patrick.
pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for being on again. And next time we do it, we'll talk about the project you have going on right now.
That sounds awesome.
Awesome,
Cool.
awesome. All right, hang on the line there really quick.
you.
Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate you supporting us and sharing the show with your friends. If you know anyone who would like to listen to this show, or if you think it would be interested to your friends, go ahead and share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram. Make sure to tag us so we know that you did that, and I'd like to see how you guys share it. We appreciate it so, so much. We love you, and let us know if we can ever help, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. I have to say, I have been absolutely loving this product by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. If you want to listen to the interview we did with Tristan, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/127. And Qigong is a great way to de-stress the body. And as you know, there's a huge component to disease caused by stress. And stress is a huge factor in how we live our lives and the amount of energy we have and the amount of vitality we have. And so, Dr. Shade, what do you think about Qigong?
People come to me and they're really sick and they got this blown out neurological system and all this toxicity. And I tell them, you need to do Qigong, Tai Chi. You need to do these things that settle down and restore your neurology, because it puts together all the parts. It puts you back into that state where you can start to detoxify. And so I highly, highly recommend all that.
And what about you, Kit Campbell? What do you think about Qigong? Do you like it as well?
Qigong is amazing. And the reason that I believe it to be amazing is everything here is energy. That is a scientific fact, if there ever is one. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually drawing energy into your body. Your intention, whatever your intention is behind any action, will determine the level of energy, type of energy that you absorb into your body. So your intention behind is very important, just like thought. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually bringing energy in and you're bringing out the stuff that might be a bit stale. With Tai Chi, it's totally different. The energy runs underneath the skin because it's more of a martial. This is the Chinese understanding, by the way. It's more of a martial art. So Qigong is very, very good for bringing that energy into the body, and just fantastic.
If you're interested in picking up this Qigong course by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. That's QIGONG. And you can learn more about it. There's a great video on that page, and you can learn more about it on that page. And I highly, highly recommend this product. I love it myself, so go ahead and check that out. extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. Well, there you go. Episode 565 with Mr. Patrick Durkin. What did you guys think? I love that guy. He is a cool dude. I love the aspect of personal development that he's into, spirituality, and kind of combining that with water. Really interesting. You know, I think that the more you learn about water and the more you understand, the more you realize you don't understand. And the more, you know, it's like living in the mystery. It's just such a trip because you understand that water, although we kind of have a elemental understanding of what it is, we don't really understand how it operates, where it comes from exactly, and what exactly it is, and how it conducts energy and information. I mean, it's such a trippy subject. And that's why it's really important to treat water with such reverence and such respect because, you know, 93% of our blood plasma is water. Our overall entire body starts to diminish with water over time, and water helps to bring the DC electric current that we make through the light spectrum in our eyes, and helps to run our mitochondria and helps the mitochondria to oscillate at 100 hertz frequency. And that energy creates ATP, and that ATP, through the use of water and electricity, controls genetic expression. So water is massive. Water is so huge. Water is more important than food. Oddly enough, it is. Water is way more important than food. So it's super critical that you dial up your water game and understand that water becomes your blood and it becomes you. And it is what creates life. And yeah, it's so, so important. And understanding water more and more is a trip to realize how little we know about what water does. I mean, we have an understanding, but not much. So I hope you guys enjoyed that show. If you guys want to pick up any of Patrick Durkin's water filters, we have their whole house water filter. We have their VitaJewel, I think it's called, water container, which is really cool. It's got little crystals in there, and you know, it's cool stuff. It's really, really cool stuff. And I stand behind him and his work. And yeah, his water filter's awesome. We have the whole house, one, and super, super important. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. He is a cool guy, and sometimes we get to talking about spirituality and love and bliss and all the spiritual stuff. And, so I hope you guys enjoy that. He's just a cool dude doing cool things. I love what he's doing. So this was episode 565. So if you guys want to learn more about his water filters, we are connected up with him. I think his product's in our store. It should be. I'll have to go look and make sure. But yeah, check him out and see if his stuff resonates with you and his products and stuff like that if you're interested in the water filtration system. So again, that was episode 565. And if you want to check out any of the show notes for this show, it is extremehealthradio.com/565. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you guys want to learn more about what we have going on in the Extreme Health Academy, this is the place for you. This is going to be, it actually is. I'm so proud of this. We're doing monthly workshops with practitioners from all over the world. We're doing monthly courses that are filmed with Dr. John Bergman in studio. We're doing monthly Q&A calls. We're doing webinars. Man, this place is amazing. And we're teaching you guys how to take care of your health, how to overcome catastrophic health conditions naturally. How to take care of your liver. When were you ever taught that in school? How, most people can't even feel their liver, let alone understand what it does and how to take care of it. How to live in a non-toxic way through your home environment and your work environment. All these things, we're going to be doing quick tips where they're going to be audio and video lessons on how to, do certain things like how to make a detox bath, all kinds of interesting things are going on inside the Extreme Health Academy. And there's hundreds and hundreds of people in the forums, in the community. So if you have a health question of any kind, it's really cool to get the collective wisdom of probably hundreds and hundreds of years of people. If you combine everyone's aggregated amount of time they've been into this, their experience. And so we get to share with each other and root each other on. And it's just an awesome place, and I'm really, really excited about it. So if you guys want to take your health to new levels you never thought possible, I would highly encourage you guys to check out Extreme Health Academy. It's the #1 place online where all of this stuff is going on, and we're teaching biohacks. We're teaching all kinds of cutting edge information that you're not going to get anywhere else. Like, a lot of people focus on like just the light piece, how light affects our mitochondria. Our biology and how light affects genetic expression. A lot of people focus on the spirituality side. A lot of people focus just on diet and food. A lot of people focus on just on toxicity. But after doing 500 and some odd shows, 64 shows or whatever it is we've done, and being involved in this for 15 years, there's not a piece that I've been at least exposed to. And so we're bringing all of these healing tools together. Everything from crystal healing to spirituality to recall healing to gestalt therapy to family biology to energetics of frequency and light and magnetism and vibration, as well as the food pieces, the detoxification, the heavy metals, the biohacks, all this stuff we're bringing all together. And so I see a lot of people doing little pieces of this stuff around the internet, but I don't see a lot of people putting it all together. So what we're doing is just adding stuff to the Extreme Health Academy over time. So it's a monthly cost. But I'm telling you guys, it's worth every penny because this is information that you're not going to get from any other online nutrition school. You're not going to get it anywhere else online. This is cutting edge stuff that we're putting together here. And I've been exposed to so much information that I rarely see people putting all the pieces together. So that's why we connected up with Dr. John Bergman. He's a chiropractor extraordinaire, best in the world. And so this is really cool. So if you guys want to come say hi and introduce yourself in the forums, we would love that and appreciate that. That would be really fun to connect with you. I have a difficult time getting back to everybody on email, but in the forums, I'm super active. And so is Dr. John Bergman's son, who is a wealth of knowledge himself. He sort of stands behind the scenes and does a lot of the videos and stuff like that. But man, that guy is just a treasure trove of knowledge. And so he shares a lot in the forums, and I do as well as Kate, and we just have a good time. So if you want to take your health to new levels, check out the Extreme Health Academy. It is going to be something that will be life-changing for you too. So check that out, extremehealthacademy.com. And thank you for your support over the years. Thanks for buying through our Amazon link. Thanks for going to our store on a regular basis. You guys know who you are, and buying through our little buttons there and checking out all the products we have in our store. And that helps keep everything free for everybody. So we really appreciate that. It's really, really, I don't know. This makes me feel good knowing that you guys are out there and we have a community of people around the world that actually care about their health, and just, it's just awesome. So thank you for that. All right, guys, we love you again. And this was episode 565. That's correct. Yep. extremehealthradio.com/565. And we appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys on the next show.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any information in this blog or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment/cure for any disease or health condition condition, and nor should it be continued as such. Always work with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, prescription drug use, lifestyle, or exercise activities. This information is provided as is, and the reader/viewer assumes all risks from the use, non-use, or misuse of this information.